Welcome to our very special feature, Coffee with a Commissioner. And joining us now is Mr. Mark Price, one of our newest faces on the Onslow County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Price, we're so glad you're here, sir.
It's good to be here.
We want to take some time today to just talk a little bit about you, your background, what you bring to the Onslow County Board of Commissioners, and kind of talk about your vision for that. And we want to begin with, as we said in the opening, you're one of our newest faces, less than officially 6 months are on the board.
Since December 5.
Since December 5, so just not quite 6 months there. And in that tenure on the board, you all have hit the ground running, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. There's been a lot of meetings and events and things you get out and see what's going on that perhaps you weren't aware of before. So it's been good. I've enjoyed it.
So every day is a learning opportunity.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Now, we should say that learning opportunities are what you're all about.
Oh yes, plenty of time as a school teacher at Southwest High School.
Excellent. Well, let's really kind of get to know you, if we will. And let's begin with, where are you from, sir?
I'm from Duplin County. I was born outside, well, I was born in Burgall, but I grew up in Duplin County and in an area called Northeast Community. It's about 5 miles outside of Wallace, so they're on Highway 41. A little rural area and nice community.
So is your family agricultural? Is that your family's background?
No, my dad was a postal clerk,
okay.
and my mom was a second grade teacher. So we're an education kind of family. My mom was a teacher, my sister-in-law's a teacher, of course my wife's an assistant principal, so and my daughter's a teacher as well, so we're education background.
The family business, so to speak. Absolutely. So grew up there. What brought you to Onslow County?
I graduated from NC State in '86, and I taught a year in Hope Mills at Southview Senior. Then I went back to NC State and got my master's, and I was trying to get a job, and Mr. Randall called me up from Southwest, and I came down and interviewed, and I said, he actually offered me the job right there. I was surprised the first day, and I told him I'd have to get back with him. So I checked with my parents to see if I could stay at their trailer at the beach, and so they said yes, and so I accepted the job, and so that's how it went. I just drove back and forth from the beach for a couple of years.
And you taught at Southwest then all of your career, or the majority of your career?
Yeah, except for the 1 year tenure at Southview Senior and 28 years at Southwest.
That I can remember when that school was built, and it started out as a 712 school, I think.
Well, whenever I arrived, it was still, middle school was still there for like 3 years. I think, as a matter of fact, I coached middle school football for 3 years. Before I went up and started coaching JV, junior varsity.
So you taught history,
world history and U.S. history primarily throughout my career, and AP U.S. history. I did teach civics a couple of times as well.
Which I think is very appropriate.
Oh yeah, it kind of ties in real well, doesn't it?
So spent 28 years teaching and coaching and being in the community. What brought you to serve in local government?
Well, I'd always been interested in politics, I'd always active in, of course, voting every year and being involved, keeping up, because that's a part of being a social studies teacher.
Right.
You have to be informed about issues that are going on. Love to talk about current events in the classroom and kind of relate things back to what had happened in the past and how does this compare to the political situation today and things like that. And so I really enjoyed that. And so it kind of meshed together whenever someone invited me to attend a precinct meeting. I said, yeah, sure, I'll get involved. I'd always been wanting to do that, but I never had the time because of coaching and everything. And so I just forced myself to make the time.
Make the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what civics is all about, making us all be engaged, finding it. When you decided to run for commissioner, did you have any connection with your former students? Did they say, we thought that this is something that you would always do? Or what was kind of the feel in the community there from your kids?
You would see kids that you had taught in the past and said, Mr. Price, I'm glad you're doing this, or I'm really going to support you and stuff like that. So it was kind of reassuring to know that you've taught that many kids, and you know their parents, and you've got connections to people, and so I think that kind of helped, knowing a lot of people in the community, and them knowing me and knowing what I cared about and stuff like that. So I like to think it was a positive.
And then all the influence, I think all the time that teachers touch more lives than I think that you could ever imagine. And when you think about your teaching career, what are some of those highlights or those things that you're so proud of?
Well, as a teacher, I tell people a lot of times you don't really know the impact you're having during the time that you're teaching until a kid comes back like 6 or 8 years later and says, Mr. Price, is what I'm doing now. I really appreciate what you helped me with and stuff like that. And so you begin to see some of the impact at that point in time. You really don't see it while you're in it. And as a matter of fact, they might not like you while you're in it. And they might, why are we doing this again? Why are you presenting this information in this way again, or whatever? They get tired, or they get tired of you sometimes, or sometimes you might feel like you're getting tired of them a little bit, but that's okay. You just keep on pressing on, keep on pushing through.
And then you see the results.
Yeah.
They become adults, and then you
and
get
they
to
tend
see.
to look back and kind of appreciate those things, where you gave them structure, you gave them a little bit of discipline to kind of let them know, hey, we got to get this done. We're about doing work. We're going to do work every day, and so that's a part of life. You got to go to work wherever you are.
Exactly. Now, you spent your career in teaching, but what if we were to ask you that do you do for fun?
Well, while I was teaching, of course, my fun was coaching.
Yeah.
I love to coach. I coach offensive line, and I enjoyed that immensely. And we had a lot of success with a lot of great kids coming through the Southwest High School, and so it was fun working with them. We had a lot of fun with our coaching staff. We got along great together, and so we all kind of knew each other. We had coached together for so long. We kind of just meshed real well together. So that was a lot of fun, and especially when you go deep into the playoffs and have opportunities to do those types of things. So that was fun then. Now, and I've always enjoyed doing things like planting a garden and reading. I read a lot, and I attend my church, and so those are some of the fun things for me.
Well, Southwest, we all know, certainly has quite the football legacy. And being a state graduate, I'm sure you're a big fan of a little bit of Wolfpack football.
Oh yeah, follow the Wolfpack and try to go to a couple of games if I can, each season, home games.
Well, when we were thinking about this idea of getting to know commissioners, it was fun to just read about who you all are. And we want to talk a little bit too about the support that you get from at home, because we know that with every successful person, there has to be that strong support system. So can you share with us a little bit about your family, sir?
Well, my parents always been really strong influence, and they did a outstanding job, I think, raising us and bringing us up the right way and making us get out there and work in the garden and do things we didn't want to do, and take piano lessons even though we didn't want to take them, and realize in life you got to do some things you don't necessarily want to do, which is good. And so they did a good job, and of course my wife is very supportive of everything I do, and my girls let me know I'm not that important and remind me of that whenever they get around me, so that's good too.
And how many children do you have?
I got 2 girls, Christina, who's a teacher at Hunters Creek Elementary.
Oh, okay.
And Kayla is a nurse in Cone Hospitals in Greensboro.
Okay, very good. Well, as we think about your role as a commissioner, and you think about your time as a teacher and the vision you had for your kids, that long-term dream, knowing that you were putting in the work at the time, that you might not see it immediately, how can you apply that to your role as a commissioner? What are you thinking about in terms of big picture or dreams for the county?
Yeah, it's like a process. Whenever you're going through process, it builds. I understand that everything's not going to happen overnight, and there's little incremental pieces that help build the county and help build the attractiveness of the county, just like little things like we did the kiosk at the airport. which is it's not a really huge thing, but it is a big deal because it allows people to have some chance to read and do those things while they're waiting for aircraft or whatever. And so it's a small thing, but it's significant. And those pieces build on each other and helps make the county better, I guess you could say.
Well, what about the county now? So if you meet with colleagues or if you're away or you meet people for the first time and tell them where you're from, what is it about Onslow County that you like to celebrate?
I just enjoy the fact that the people are, it's a sense of community. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like where I grew up. You went to buy the barbecue plates on Saturday, to support the local volunteer fire department. You had kind of a sense of community there, and you knew people in your area, and you went to church on Sunday morning. You did those kind of things. You had the homecomings. You had those get-togethers. You had that tight sense of community, and so I see that in Onslow County as a very positive thing.
For a very large place, it really does have a sense of small town at the same time. At the same time.
Which is very attractive to people. People like that.
To feel at home.
Yeah.
To feel
comfortable.
As we're kind of wrapping things up, what would you like to share with our viewers or say to them in a way of a thank you or encouragement or even an invitation to them to be involved in some way?
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for being so supportive of this board. I think everybody's really been supportive and encouraging, and that we're going to continue to try to do what's best for the citizens of Onslow County to help lead us forward and make improvements in whatever way we can.
Well, Commissioner Price, it has been a real pleasure talking with you. I hope that we'll get a chance to visit in the future and get out and enjoy that springtime and get in your garden, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.